Hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, good
Hi.
evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Right, I'm here.
Oh, that's worse.
I hate this technology.
Is that better? That's better. You can see a bit of me that way. Actually, darkness is probably a good thing. How have you all been doing?
Okay.
Good, good, Sandra. It's lovely to see you. I didn't think you'd be here today.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm knackered, but I'm here.
Oh, bless you. Well, I appreciate it. Well, I hope you've had a good one. Today, we're going to start talking about Instagram. And over the next couple of weeks, I'll put more and more things up for you so that you can ramp it up. Sandra, did you manage to get your account sorted out?
No, but I've asked the guy who does my computer stuff for another email address. So hopefully I'll have a link that'll take me through.
Okay. That
Because
might well work. It's definitely
yeah,
worth a try. If you don't get any success with that, let me know and I'll see if I know someone gave me a couple of people who help out with, recovering accounts that have gone a bit adrift or whatever. And they can see if they can help maybe.
right. Cheers. Thank you.
But hopefully you'll be able to get it back just by sorting that out. Let's hope.
Yeah, let's hope.
Okay. So, yeah, okay, I totally get that. Okay, well, oh, my chair seems to have gone for a wander. I'm all over the way down. I've got cream on my arm. I know it looks a bit weird having one arm up and one arm down, but for some reason I broke out in hives just before going live. So I look ridiculous. So today we want to have a look at, navigate a little bit of the ins and outs of Instagram. And hopefully by the end of today, you'll have some tools to help you set up your account. How many of you have already got an Instagram account before we actually get, moving forward on it? Oops, hang on. I've lost 1 second. I seem to have, okay, show me again.
I've got an account, but I literally have no real idea how to do anything on it. So
Okay, that's fine. But you have an account, which is great. I have I don't know if any of you saw, but I put a guide up into the file section of VIPs today. And there are some videos linked in there. And one of those, if you haven't started at all, one of those will help you actually set up the account right from scratch. So if you're at that point, there's a video for you. If you're a little bit further advanced and you're not quite sure what the difference between things is, I'll go through some of that anyway, but there's videos to help you with that. There's a really good video from Shopify that takes you through a lot of strategies, a lot of insight. The downside to it being by Spotify is that they're obviously wanting you to use Shopify for your website and selling products. So when you are watching a video from someone like Shopify, take all of the information on board, but don't necessarily relate it to having to have your website or anything through them. There's some really, really good information in there though. And then if you've been doing, well, it doesn't matter whether you've been doing it for a while or not, to be honest. I've added in an excellent video, which is talking about very, very current trends. Trends change all the time on social media, and Instagram is no different. And there's been quite a switch over and some very, very new things happening in Instagram. So I've put deliberately something up that will kind of help you understand a little bit more about how things are moving. And I'll talk about them a little bit more in today's training. So hopefully by the end, you're going to have some tools and kind of a little bit more strategy when it comes to creating content. that fits your brand story, and really starting to build a community, hopefully, of people that are passionate about your products, your handmade toiletries, or your services if you're a service provider. So so what is Instagram, and why would Instagram be a good tool for you? I guess that's really a good place to start, because the biggest of all of the social medias, you've got TikTok, which is absolutely huge, but Facebook is still pretty much dominates the main social media. The difference between Facebook and Instagram is Facebook is more about community. So it's very, very different. And we talk about a community in all of the social media platforms, but Instagram is quite different. And Instagram is very, very visual. And the beauty of your products is that a visual platform really, really suits your type of brand. So it makes complete sense to leverage a platform that speaks to that audience. And the beauty of Instagram is that it is partnered with Facebook. And that means that because of the way the integrations work, you can actually repost, even automatically, all of the things that you put up from one onto the other. That's going to save you a ton of time. And it also means you can reach both audiences. Some people might only be on Facebook. They live on Facebook. They never go on Instagram. Other people live on Instagram. They don't go on Facebook very much. And some people go on both. So no matter where your customers are, you'll be able to reach them pretty easily, but without you absolutely blowing your mind trying to do all of the things all of the time. Because one downside to Instagram is that you do have to be super consistent, and you have to be more visual than you would on something like Facebook. So you need to be posting far more often. But the good thing is that the content is really short, or the content that works very, very well is very, very short. And it's stuff that you can actually batch produce. And then, well, we'll talk about scheduling another time, because they're changing all of the APIs for scheduling. But basically, you can have all of your content ready to go. And then you can literally just start posting and posting and posting. So it's not something that's super difficult. You really can, you know, if you're sitting in a car park, you can quickly just have a post already ready and just, there it is, it's gone. Or you can pre-plan them all. So it's nice and easy. So the first thing is to set up an account. And it sounds like most of you already have an account. The next thing is to optimize, excuse me, let me get rid of the rubbish off my screen, is to optimize your profile. And I'm not actually going to cover that today. I'm going to cover that in a completely separate training and try and put a whole load of examples up for you. Because when you prepare your profile, your very, very top section under your picture in the right way, as soon as people land on your Instagram account, they'll be able to see within 4 or 5 lines, they'll be able to see whether or not they connect with it or not. And then they may well go on and start looking at your other things or clicking your link. So your profile is important from that point of view. But it's also incredibly important for Instagram itself, because it tells Instagram who you are, who you serve, where they should actually be targeting your posts and your information. So if you don't have that set up right, you're missing out on a huge amount of potential, because you're confusing the algorithm and it just has no idea where to actually send any of your posts. So I'm going to do a separate training on that for you, and put together a whole load of examples. I've just got some notes here. Let me just have a look at where we are. Okay, so what I'd like to do is to talk, I suppose, about the different types of content on Instagram itself, because I think that can be quite confusing. I don't know about you, but what are you all comfortable with the different types of things within Instagram? would you know what the differences are or what's going to help you one way to the other? No?
All I do
No.
with is I just you know, if you go onto your Facebook page, I'm on Meta Business Suite, and then it there's 2 tick boxes. It automatically goes to Instagram. So
Yeah.
whatever I put on Facebook automatically goes to Instagram. But that's as much as I know about Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't know any other benefits.
That's okay. So if you are going to do that, that's good because you're repurposing. However, what you may find is when you repurpose it from Facebook to Instagram, if your picture sizes are optimized for Facebook, when it repurposes it, it may chop off half of the images and text that you've put up. So a little trick around that. Do you do your images in Canva?
No.
Okay. How do you do your images?
I just take a photograph and then save the photograph.
So how do you resize it to the right size so it's optimized for Facebook?
I don't think I do. I just
Ah,
do it.
okay.
I don't know. I just, you know, you just put it says create a post, and then there's a little picture of a photograph, and I click on that, select a photograph, and it just puts it on.
Okay, so you're using the automated and letting it do the work, but
I
you
think
will
so.
end up with some of them not working.
Mm.
And at the moment, then you're just doing images, but there's no text, there's no stickers, there's no call
I
to
can write a
actions.
text above it, like this
Okay.
is my ex soap, and it's da da da, and
Got you. But on the image, you're not putting any text,
No,
there's no
no.
stickers, there's no engagement buttons, there's no call to actions, it's just an image.
no, that's beyond me.
Okay, it's not beyond you, we'll get you there.
Oh,
We'll
dear.
absolutely get you there. So so what you can do is if and when you start using Canva, which you are going to, because it's free and it will do all of the work for you, and there's a ton of free templates in there that will help you and make your images a little bit more engaging as well. You can actually select the Instagram image size at the top. Let me see. Let me see if I can just bring it up and show you real quickly. Canva. Okay, let me just share my screen. Okay, so here we are on Canva, and along your top bar here, you would normally use a Facebook post if you were going to do a Facebook post. Kind of self-explanatory, but right next to it, you've got the Instagram square. And if you use that, it will actually work in both. So rather than doing it landscape and having it too wide and then chopping off part of your text, keep your images in square format. And then that way, when you reshare it from Facebook over to Instagram, you won't end up with half your text missing and it looking really weird. Because there's nothing worse than it repurposing and you think, oh, great, it's doing all the work for me. And then you go and have a look and half of the posts aren't even readable. Okay, excuse me. So let's have a little look at the difference between the Instagram features, I suppose you call them. Let me get rid of Canva. We don't need them. So the first one are Instagram posts. And actually, just in case you don't know what an Instagram post is, I will show you on my screen. So when you go into an Instagram account, you've got the name of the company at the top, you've got their image, and you've got the bio here underneath the image. We'll come on to all of these other elements in another post. But here you've got posts, reels, and tagged. And these that come up on your main feed are your posts. Now, this is where things have changed a little bit more recently. In the past, I would have told you not to have really touched posts at all because posts are pretty dead. And that's the way that everyone's been thinking about it for quite a while. And that was because Instagram started out as a picture platform. It was all about images. And then TikTok started coming out and they needed to be able to compete with TikTok. So they moved completely away from just having pictures and they moved into doing videos. And when they created videos, they decided that they were going to do them as reels. And reels are vertical videos so that it fits perfectly on your phone. So they did reels. And then they bought out stories and they bought out IGTV and all of the other things, but they kind of left posts, and posts were just pretty dead for a long, long time. And then carousels as well. Carousels are where you've got a post, but it might have a whole series of images or a couple of videos clubbed together. So you've got carousels too. And carousels and posts really just weren't getting any traction. But just recently, the CEO of Instagram said that they really dropped the ball on not using posts and carousels as much, and that they were actually bringing back far more engagement or reach to people's posts and carousels compared to previously. And there's a couple of reasons why that's actually happened. So they went all out on Reels when TikTok took over and started really, really booming. They were scared shitless and they just thought, Christ, we've got to do something here to get our audience back. So they went absolutely hard as nails on Reels. And Reels were the king for over 2 years. It was what, if you put anything out onto Instagram, it needed to be a reel to really get seen. And that's great. That still stands today to a certain degree. But the number of reels that are now being put out onto Instagram is massively more than it was in its early days. I mean, exponentially large. So it's a lot more difficult to get your reels seen. So now they've realized that there's a lot more reels, but actually there's no more people. It's pretty stagnant on the number of people compared to the number of reels that are being produced. So now they've decided they need to revisit some of the other things that they've got and help people get better reach from things like posts and carousels and their stories too. So don't be afraid to really mix and match things up and use things in a really strategic way to target your audience. Don't listen to tons of gurus out there who say that the only way forward is reels. It is absolutely a major, major part. It is not the only part. So right now, actually, you get far more push from Instagram for getting a follow than you do for just sticking a reel up. So there's all sorts of different things that they're valuing more. One is the amount of time that someone was staying on your actual reel or your post or whatever, how long you're keeping them engaged on that particular piece of content that you're putting out. Because if they're watching, 20% of it, they're not very engaged. If they're watching 80 or 100% of it, they're fully engaged. If it's a post that is making them watch it more than once, 1.5 times, 2 times, because it's either really, really fun, it's engaging, or you've put more information maybe that they have to click down to actually see more information. Maybe it's tips on skincare or something like that. It's going to take them longer to read that when they actually have to click into it. So that then gives you much longer on the view time, which boosts you up, and then they'll push you out more. As opposed to a picture, which is static, and you can see a picture in a second and then move on to another one and move on to another one. So they want people taking those steps of engagement, and the more time you can keep them on the platform, and even better if it's on your content, the more you're going to get pushed out, because that sends the algorithm that notification that people are really enjoying this, people are doing all of the things we want, they're liking, they're sharing, they're commenting, etc. So once they start doing all of that and they're staying on, they're watching each one for longer rather than just click, 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 you're going to get seen more. So the content you need to be able to create needs to help you keep that person engaged, happy, have some fun with them. Instagram is not about selling. You could sell on other platforms, and I'm not saying you're not going to get sales through Instagram. Please don't get me wrong. But Instagram is not the place to just sit there and put all of your ads about this product and that product and the other product. If you tell your story and you explain what you do and how you do it and the struggles and the fun and the triumphs and the tribulations, and really showcase all of the other sides of your business, you'll have a really engaged following and they'll want to support you and they'll buy from you. But just sticking up, you know, this offer and that offer and the other offer is not going to get you sales. It will just switch people off. Okay. I'm not sharing my screen, am I? Am I? No?
I can
No.
see you.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's look at the difference between so you saw the post and you saw the reels and where they were. One second. So a post can be either a single image, just one image. Generally, you don't just put a single image up on its own. You would normally caption it, have some kind of text with it that you can have as captions. You'd animate it, you'd have stickers, you'd have sound, you'd have something. Now, a lot of posts, people turn the sound off. It's really mixed, is this? Because on one hand, you have people saying that people love trending music, trending audio, and a lot of people do, but a lot of people watch this stuff when they're at work. So they tend to have the sound off. So if you really want to capture people, you need to be using automated captions. And there's all sorts of ways to put them in, and they're built in as well. So it's very easy to put them in, but make sure that you do have captions wherever you can. And if you can be in a lot of your things and really the face of your brand, you will build your brand so much faster than trying to just put things up about your actual products. So whether that's a tiny video, even just where you start off and you're in it and then you switch the video down to the products, but the more times that they see you and can connect with you, the faster your channel will grow. Truly. And I know it's as scary as hell being on camera, but you can practice and practice and practice to nobody. And they're not there sitting there waiting to judge you and trip you up. They're there because they're interested. And you're there because you want to really build your brand. So the next thing that you can do is to create small videos. And in your post, you can do a video of up to 60 seconds. So it's quite a long one, actually, for Instagram, if you want to. Or in a carousel, which is multiple images or sections where you're breaking it up, you can do up to 10 different images or videos in a single post. And that allows you to have different words, you know, a few words on each page, and kind of tell a story or tips or something over multiple images and pages. And these, because they're pretty visual and they're engaging, these are really, really suited to things like some behind the scenes content, things like customer testimonials that they've sent in, polls, educational content, tips, things about your ingredients or processes that you do in your soap making. Posts, think of posts as like literally the backbone of your profile. They'll showcase your brand's values, your aesthetic, your products, all of those types of things. And this is where you can ask questions. You can use hashtags in there as well. That's pretty much it, but don't discount posts. Just make sure that they're not your main element. They're an add-on, not the only thing. And they can be quite good for helping to create some engagement and building community. The best thing for building rapport with your customers is stories. And stories are a little bit different. Stories can be photographs or videos, but they're only up to 15 seconds, so they're much, much shorter. And generally, they're even shorter than that. You know, a story can be 5 to 7 or 8 seconds, but it's a maximum of 15 seconds. And the thing about a story is that they vanish after 24 hours. So you put it up there and it's gone. It's not something that stays and stays and stays, but you can actually repurpose all of your stories into reels or posts. So it doesn't have to go forever. And those get displayed right at the very top of people's feeds. So if someone follows you, it will pop up onto their feed and it will show the stories and notify them that you've got a new story. And if someone clicks on the little picture icon, if you've got a story up that day and they click on it, it will pop straight up for them. So that's generally where people go first. And it's a brilliant place to just be spontaneous, be casual, tell them about all of the things that have happened that day. What have you done? What happened when you were walking the dog? You know, what disaster happened with the stock that you were expecting? Or, you know, all of the real life stories of what's happening to you on a daily basis, whether it's fun, whether it's, you know, it's some nightmare that's happened, whatever it is. That's the place that you can really build that rapport with your customers so that they can really get to know you, the person behind the brand. And again, you can do, you know, updates behind the scene, lots of behind the scenes stuff. It works quite well, but short, tiny little snippets about what you might be doing that day rather than more in-depth things. You can do polls, you can do little Q&A, just chatting to them, all of those kind of things. Little product teasers are good in your stories as well. Maybe you've got, you know, a couple of second video of you making something and you're teasing out, you know, you making it and you're getting them to kind of put some input into what it might be, all of that kind of stuff. Even time limited offers where it's only going to be for a really limited time, that could also work really, really well in a story. But anything that's behind the scenes are going to help the customer to connect to you as a person. It will help keep your audience engaged, and it's day to day. So they're kind of following along with your story and you making the products and you selling the products. That would be a great place to be putting up about where you're selling at an event, for example. So for those of you who do sell at events, that will be perfect. Every single time you're going to be doing an event, you know, you can put something up about you preparing for it and telling them about it. And then on the day, you're telling them that you're going to be there. And then you can do another one where you just do a quick pan of the actual event. So that's a great way to be using your stories. And stories need to be engaging. Use your stickers, use polls, use questions, use countdown timers. Ask specific direct questions to them.
What do you mean by stickers? Sorry, what do you mean when you say sticker? Use your stickers. What are they?
When you go into Instagram, I don't, because Instagram's normally on your phone, I can't bring them up. But when you go in, she says. So when you create a reel, click on reel. Let's continue. I don't know what I was browsing.
It says that money comes and goes, but mine is just going. Like mine isn't coming back.
So this is the one that I'd obviously started making, and it's got some audio in it.
Mine is just going and not looking back. Everybody says that money
Hang
comes
on, let
and
me
goes.
just pause it. Okay, so everyone's pinging, and I don't want them to ping. So when you're actually in your reels, you've got things all across the bottom. you see down here, you've got
Oh,
all
yeah.
sorts of menu items. So, oh, let me just click done. So you can, let me try and do it without clicking. So you can move these all of the way along. There's loads and loads and loads of different options on that bottom menu when you're in a reel or creating a reel. So to get to actually creating reel, let me go back a step. Let's just discard that one. And go back a step. So when you go in at the beginning, you've got this little plus sign at the bottom, and you
Yeah.
click that to start a reel. And then you've got all of these options. Do you want to do a post, a story, a reel, etc. across the bottom? So you can pick that you want to do a reel. So I've said that I want to do a reel, and then I can start adding content in. So you can choose from templates at the top. You can just put your own images in there. You can do whatever you want. A lot of people like using the templates. There's some amazing templates in there. I would have a really good play around, and don't worry if it accidentally posts to your account, because you can go in and delete it. So, you know, if you're just like, oh my God, what happened? It's where did it go? It's either just saved it into your camera roll or on your, you know, your camera itself, or if it's posted it, just go into your feed, have a look and see if it's there. And if it is, you can delete it if you don't want it. People are not going to expect it to be perfect straight away. So if you forget audio, move on. Do audio tomorrow or do it in the afternoon. Don't worry about it and just rip your hair out. Whenever you're using Instagram, it's always going to be glitchy. There's always going to be things that happen. You've spent 10 minutes putting something together and then something messes up and you're just like, I want to throw my phone through the... You'll get used to it. You really, really will. And some people deliberately don't do them directly on Instagram. They create them in other apps instead and then import them into Instagram so that you don't have to worry about the glitches and all of the little things that are happening in the background sometimes. So if you use Canva, which is one that we've talked about before, Canva have loads and loads and loads of options for you to create reels and do little animations. And I know I've put videos and information up before. We've done stuff on the live calls as well for CapCut. Do any of you use CapCut? So CapCut is free. They have a paid plan and a free plan, and there's tons and tons and tons of reel templates for you, really, really lovely reel templates for you, right on CapCut that you can access and then just take it straight into. In fact, from CapCut, you can post it straight into Instagram, which is another good option for you. But the stickers are little, they're normally little animated I can't do it in Instagram, but what I can do is I can share my screen and show you them in Canva. She says, have I even got Canva open now? No, give me 1 second, I'll open it again. Canva. Okay, let's share. Okay, so if I bring up an Instagram post, actually I don't want to post, I want a reel. Let's just go back again. Home. So we can do a story or a reel. Let's just do an Instagram story. It's exactly the same size, whether you're doing a reel or a post or a story. And over here, when you go into it, you've got all these templates that you could use as well. So these are already done. You just stick your own photos or you change the text to whatever fits for you. I mean, there's hundreds, if not thousands of them already there. So let's just pick one. Let's just say that that was your, you know, you put all of your pictures in and that was your post. This one is ghosts and Halloween. So if we come up to elements, We've got stickers here. You can see stickers. You see all of these little animated emojis and things going on this left menu. Can you see them
Yeah.
all?
Yeah.
So I can search through these for specific things, or I can just literally go through, and each one of these will expand into absolutely loads. So you can just go and find something that you think, you know, suits what you're wanting. A lot of people use something like this, you know, where you've got a hand, where you're wanting them to
Wow.
click on a link to go and see your product. So let's say that in the middle of all of this, you had, you know, a text button with a link to something that you were selling, or a particular product. Put a little animation to tell them to click, because people are not that bright.
I know, I'm not.
So the easier you can make it, show them like a little, you know, something like that, where you're wanting them to click. It's making them see that there's another thing that they can do on that post, which when you're just scrolling at 1,000,000 miles an hour, it's not as obvious as you think, because they're quickly scanning through stuff. You need something that just grabs them and makes them think, oh, yeah. So it could be, you know, a little arrow next to your 5 tips or something like that, or, you know, grab my 5-tip guide, and then it takes them to where they can grab that little guide. So that's what stickers are, but you can do them natively inside Instagram itself. Okay. So we covered posts, we covered stories, and then we're talking about reels. So reels are very, very short form video, but they can still be up to 60 seconds long, and they still are king. So although they're not as pushed out as much as they used to be, they're trying to give more kudos to some other things like shares. The more shares you can get, the better. The longer you can keep them on the platform, the better. But reels are really, really good for sharing fun, making things relatable, any kind of educational content, anything that's going to keep them entertained. Tutorials work really, really well. Anything that's transformative, so, you know, before and after. So that could be, you know, taking your raw ingredients, a pile of raw ingredients, and then, you know, you put your hand up and suddenly this marvelous finished soap is there, or all of those kind of things. Or it could be a person's transformation. It's also good for things like showcasing features of a product, or maybe talking about, you know, elements or aspects of the ingredients. Could even be your, you know, your eco policies, all of those kind of things. If you can jump on trending audio, which you can find in Instagram, they have a whole section on trending audio. Those tend to get better results than things that don't have audio, or things that are really generic audio. Anything really that is going to help you to get a little bit more visibility. So those stickers, those little animations, having some text up there, using captions, all of those kind of things really, really help. The one thing I don't do is IGTV. I know some people do, it's just not something I've ever really worked with, but it allows for, again, short-term or short-form content. Oh, I forgot to say, your reels are not like your stories. Your reels will stay there forever. So once that's been posted, people could come to your Instagram and check over your reels and go 2 years back, and you'll still get engagement on those. Whereas stories, 24 hours and those are gone. So I would encourage you, if you've got a really nice story, or a collection of them in a day, where you're using up to that 10 that you can use, you might turn that into something that you can use as a reel, and then it will stay up there afterwards. But IGTV can be, I think it's up to 60 seconds. They've played around with times quite a bit, but I'm pretty sure it's up to 60 seconds. And this is really, really good for content that's much more detailed. So if you were doing tutorials, more in-depth product reviews, if you were maybe telling a story, you know, all of those kinds of things. Or if you want to go much deeper into something, you could use IGTV, which is Instagram TV, longer form content. I honestly don't use it, and it's not something that's being massively pushed out by Instagram. So I would stick to stories and reels and simple stuff on your posts rather than worrying about IGTV. But if it's something that you really feel connected to and want to go for, it's there for you. It's just something else that you could use. But thinking about what type of content you're going to use and using it in the right way will really, really help you. So remember, anything that is about you and helping them connect to you as a person and get to know, like, and trust you more, that's going to be a story. Anything that's more specific or more in depth or more engaging and fun, behind the scenes information, all of that kind of stuff, that can be reels or repurpose from stories into reels. Is everyone following along with that? Yeah. Has anyone got any suggestions, comments themselves?
Can you use the IGV TV, whatever it's called, like QVC or not?
Do you know, I honestly don't know. It's still only short form. It's only, you know, 60 seconds. So it's not like really,
Ah.
really long content. It's not super long. So
So
I
you
think it
would
would be,
use the live thing for.
I would use the live if you were going to do that, yeah. So you're
Okay.
talking about doing a live stream and then selling products or featuring products almost like QVC or
Yeah.
shopping channel type style. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
definitely do that as a live stream and not try and put it up as individual posts. It's going to be so bitty.
Okay.
And you wouldn't be able to follow who was wanting to actually purchase or bid. So yeah, I definitely do that as a live stream.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Have you done live streams before, Kate?
No, I've not even posted anything.
Oh, well. Well, they can be fun. They really can. And there are some very, very, I mean, I tell you, some companies that do really, really well with this kind of content. And sometimes they do it on Instagram, some do it on Facebook Live, but both work really, really well. I've seen bath and body companies doing it really, really well. I've seen jewelry companies doing it well. And I've also seen a lot of clothing companies doing it. And clothing companies, they literally have their entire living room set up, you know, like a bit of a catwalk and a changing room. They've got a rack of clothes there and they're talking through the products and they're holding the products up. And the next thing, she's whizzed into another room and thrown it on and she's strutting around the living room in in the new piece of clothing and showing the clothing off. And people in the chat are just all writing down what they actually want to purchase. You know, and saying, yeah, I want that. And then she will then, when she's offline, she will message them, get all of their information and send them a link to actually pay. Now, when you are doing a live sale like that, there's always going to be people who say that they want to buy and then never actually pay. You know, they're wrapped up in the moment and they're all excited and then they get cold feet and they don't come back. You can't take that personally and you can't get angry about it. Just accept it and move on. You know, it's not a big deal. But you can use scarcity and urgency when you're doing that kind of thing. So you can, you know, if you've only got 10 of that particular bar or 10 of that gift set or whatever, you know, you let them know there are only 10 slots. I'm going to take them, you know, the first ones in my feed are going to get these. If someone backs out, you can go back and you can have a look, make sure you capture all the information, and then you can always go back and message them again and see if they want it now that there's another one available. Or you might put that there's 10 up there, but you might have more than 10 or the ability to make more than 10. So if more than 10 people want them, you can still service those customers. but you can
Yeah.
literally run it like a live show, and you can make it really, really fun where people can't wait to kind of hop in and join in. You can also gamify it and create games within there. So at certain points during the live feed, you might do giveaways. So it's in their best interest to be commenting and really joining in on the whole thing, because those people are then being put forward into winning something.
Yeah.
Or special money off deals that are only limited for a very short period of time. So these are all ways that you can kind of use those live streams to create engagement and really build that sense of community. And if you have, like a weekly show and people get used to you doing it at that time every week, that can be very, very lucrative. You can build yourself a very good following. But for most people, it's not where they normally start, because they're normally terrified of going live. But,
It's
don't
more
worry
for
about-
like because I use essential oils, so it doesn't last as long as fragrance oils, but
Mhm.
if you've made it, I'd rather sell it for a discounted price than not
Yeah,
sell it
absolutely.
at all. So
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
And some people actually do their stock clearance that way. They'll do a live just to clear all of that season stock out, or when they're changing product lines or something like that. Or, maybe they've just had like Valentine's Day. They might have some Valentine's Day gift sets left over. And it's a way of, allowing, your most engaged customers to get themselves a bit of a deal or a bargain. And you let them know first before everybody else. So there's loads of ways that you can kind of utilize it.
Yeah.
I saw someone who sold these kind of action figures, things to do with Star Wars and all of that kind of stuff. All sorts of little figures and great big, ships and God knows what. And he had a shop in Florida. And he'd had a shop for quite a few years, but his sales were going down and down and down. He was getting to the point where he was worried he was going to have to sell the shop and close it down. And he just started going live on Facebook and doing these lives, showcasing the products, talking about them, the features of them, whether they were limited runs, all sorts of different bits and pieces. He built up this mass kind of cult following of people who were always there. Every time he did one, they were there, and they literally were fighting in the comments for these products. And I remember him saying once, he said, I've had this stuff. Most of this I've had between 2 and 5 years in my store. The same stuff. And no one's ever bought it. But I come and do a live and everyone's fighting over it.
Fear of missing out, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And he turned his business around to such a point that he actually sold the business as a really good going concern, and he made hundreds of thousands of dollars from it and moved on to something completely different. So it really can work very, very well. So what I would like to do is just have a look at, she says, where is it? Maybe I don't have it up yet. 1 second. Let me try and bring it up. I had some, where is it? Here it is. All right, let's see if I can share my screen. Why is it not coming up? Let's try basic. Oh, there it is. Share. Okay, so I created you this on Canva, as you can see. Can everyone see that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get rid of these. Okay, there we go, that's better. So from bubbles to buzz, building your soap brand on Instagram. So I just want to run through this a little bit. So there's some statistics on here. 71% of consumers are more likely to purchase products and services from a brand that they follow on social media. I mean, that's huge in itself. Really, really huge. And about 50%, and I think this is even more important, 50% of small businesses are not leveraging social media, which means they're missing out on all of the more easy opportunities to reach potential customers. Because I think it's on the next slide, half the world's population is active on social media every day. Half the world. And yet half of the small businesses are not on there utilizing that. Does that not sound absolutely crazy? So there's a really, really good reason why you want to be using social media and really start to ramp this up a little bit. So 70% of shoppers look to Instagram and Facebook for their shopping inspiration. And there's ways that they can shop directly in Instagram and Facebook to buy your products. Now here, I've given you some tutorial links. This one is about setting your account up. This one is a much more complete guide. It goes through lots of different things, and there's some really good tips in here. But because it's by Shopify, there are going to be things in there where they're talking about using Shopify. Just forget about that and just think about all of the tips that are in there and how they're showing you to use things, because you do not need to be on Shopify to do all of the things. And then this is a really lovely tutorial. It's about growing your account, how to drive your audience and your sales. And this allows you to sign up for a free course. So it's just a short course, but it might be a little bit of fun and teach you some bits and pieces to get started too. This is about strategies specifically about trends and new practices for 2024. So a lot of this is very new. And then this one is about producing Instagram Reels. I think it's creating 30 Reels in 30 minutes. So a nice, simple way to get started. But what I've done is in this guide, I've given you a whole load of ideas for themes and topics. And I'll put all sorts of other ones up too, but I've given you all sorts to start with. So these ones are specifically focused around a brand that likes to use natural essential oils, natural ingredients, or are really targeting people who favor wellness and relaxation in their lives. And that will apply to an awful lot of you. So it's a really good fit. And there's, I think, 16 different ideas here. And so these are all just topics and themes, but you can take any one of these and then pop it into ChatGPT, and it will then produce you all of the content that you need for that post, reel, story, whatever. You're just using these as the main inspiration. And you can think about this and think, oh, actually, I want to use this for that. And then just copy the whole thing with your additional information into ChatGPT, and it's done. It's literally done. This one, I went down a slightly different route, because I've given you information before and loads of examples, on creating reels and posts. What did I do? A whole load of them. There was a guide on doing contests, I believe, and there's, well over 100 examples in there alone of things, different types of posts and things that you could do, as well as in many of the other guides. So I didn't want to do more standard things, tips about skincare and all of that kind of stuff, because I've covered that before. I can, if you want me to. Let me know if you do want those as well, but we have done a load of those before. So what I wanted to do here was look at other things. And one of the things that is really, really good about Instagram is people like things that are funny, a little bit more humorous, a little bit different, something to take them away from all of the crap in normal life. So here I've asked for light-hearted or humorous posts specifically for that same audience though. So you see how you can take that same audience, and instead of saying 5 tips for better skin, we're making things a bit more funny and just giving them a laugh, because it's going to stop them. The other one might stop them, but if they see that all of the time and that's all you're doing, it's not going to be as engaging for them. You're not going to get as many people following you and liking and sharing. So here are some things that you can do which are just a bit more fun. and a little bit more tongue-in-cheek, and ChatGPT will create all of these for you as much as you want. And there's some more here, all things that are a little bit more humorous, and you can take it as far as you want. So if you're into puns and things like that, you can get it writing all of the puns. A lot of fun. These next ones are designed to be very visually appealing, interactive, more fun. And these generally are intended to create more excitement around your brand. So this is kind of getting them interacting and playing with you. Can they guess how many slices of soap that you're going to get out of this one loaf, and get them to then swipe left and actually see, you know, the soap cutting in action, things like that. So it's actually engaging all of the way through. And you could ask it to come up with a whole load of other options as well. And then these ones are, I deliberately asked it to consider busy mums, because a lot of your clients are going to be busy mums. They lead a hectic life, you know, and you know what all of the struggles are for a mum who's trying to juggle kids, work, and their own wellness and health and beauty at the same time. It can be quite a daunting task. So all of these are specifically going to appeal to that audience. And you can mix and match all of these up, because when it comes to Instagram, you really need to be posting at least twice a day. That's a lot more content than you will on other platforms. If you post less than that, it's going to be so slow for you to grow. So these really don't take very long to put together, and you can do a whole stack of them in one session, and then you've got them all there to roll out over a whole period of time. And it's much quicker to do it that way than trying to do one at a time. And then here, these are specifically targeted for Reels. So some of those other ones you could use in your stories, or you could use them in your posts or carousels. These ones here are specifically for Reels. And the first one, so let's look at this, instant transformation. So what I've asked ChatGPT to do is to create Instagram Reels, but with a compelling hook. So a compelling hook is something that grabs their attention within the first few seconds. And that's really, really imperative, because you've got, is it 1.6 seconds or 1.7 seconds to grab their attention before they've already moved on. So you need something that makes them think, oh, what is that? Or I need to know more about that, or I want to know the answer to that, and stay on the post and read the post or do whatever with the post. So that hook at the beginning is a key element of creating a good reel. So right in the actual ChatGPT prompt, I've asked it to create Instagram Reels with a compelling hook to grab attention. And then this is what it's given us. It's given us 8 options. You could ask it to do 20. You could do them on a specific topic theme, put information in about your specific products and brand. So it's really brand specific. It will do all of that for you. But it will literally put them all out there. It will give you the caption and then tell you what to actually create within the reel itself. So we've got that one. This was actually Reels as well, but these were for busy mums. And these ones are really using much more of an attention grabbing hook. So you've got both styles there. Are there any questions on that? No? And then I'm just telling you to go to ChatGPT. So what I'll do, in this next week, I'll put more examples, but of different kind of scenarios, different types of topics and themes or styles, to give you a broader range of types of things you can do. You can create games or gamify some of them. You can do tons and tons of different things. Don't be afraid to experiment, because until you actually start trying different forms of content, you're not going to be able to see what's working best for you. So the more things that you try and the more times you do things, the more you can start seeing which ones are getting the best engagement, which ones are getting the best views, you know, which ones are getting the most watch time. All of these things will make a big difference. And then you can think, right, these are my most popular forms of content. I'm not going to stop doing some of the other ones, but I'm going to focus a lot more on these because this is what's getting me traction. Yeah. But you're not going to know at first. If you've got 10 people there, it's going to be a while before you're going to know who's engaged and what they're watching. But as that needle starts to go up and your followers and your watchers start increasing, you should see the graph going upwards and not downwards. And you should be able to easily start picking out from the numbers what is Instagram liking, what is it pushing out for you. Okay, so I'll put some more of those up this week, and then I'll also put some information out about creating that main profile and how to really make your profile stand out so that Instagram understands who to put you in front of. Because if you're not speaking to the right person, an audience, and it's, you know, it's confusing the algorithm, it will not know where to put you and you'll just stay static. Another key piece of information, which I forgot to mention, is when you set up your Instagram account, don't do anything on that account that isn't connected with your business circle. That means you do not go on and start searching up bodybuilders or tasty tea recipes or all sorts of other things. Everything you do on that particular account, you can have multiple accounts, but that particular account needs to be 100% focused on your market. Because if you are posting about soap and then actually 90% of your time on Instagram is looking at hulky bodybuilders, you are going to confuse the heck out of Instagram and it is not going to know what to do with your content because it doesn't know very many bodybuilders who are into soap. Yeah. So literally, I know it's tempting to just start clicking through all sorts of things, but do that on a separate account. If you want to, you can help activate the algorithm by staying on the platform yourself. So don't just post and ghost. Posting and ghosting is not a good thing. You want to show Instagram that you're spending time there, that when you do post, you're engaging with other people, you're going on and having a look at other people's feeds, other people's posts that you're also liking and sharing. Actually engage. The more that you do that, the more active you are on the platform and the more it's going to see you as someone it wants to actually work with. Okay?
So not that I have been looking at bodybuilders or anything, but what if you have, like, how do you undo that? And if you are a soap business, do you want to be looking at other soap businesses?
Yes.
Or...
Yeah. So anything that you're looking at should be based around what you're doing. So if you're doing soap and skincare, be looking, following, liking, sharing, watching posts, you know, all of the things on other things that are based around that. I know I've mentioned this company before.
Because I would have thought you'd want to not necessarily look at them because you want to find your own customers, not nick theirs.
No,
do you know what I mean?
Not at all. They want to see that you are the more information that you're putting out, that, you know, these are the topics that you're connected to, the more the algorithm understands who your audience is. The same people who like those products might also like your products. So then it sees that there's value in your posts and they'll start pushing them out to the same people.
So if I accidentally see like a nice vegan recipe and I save it in my files, is that bad if I'm a soap business?
You can. So you might do something like that in your stories. You want to try and keep it within your brand as much as possible, but you can be talking about, you know, a recipe that you saw on there that you made for tea last night. You know, this is the dish that I made and I'm going to put a link below for you if you want to check it out yourself. You
Not
can do something-
necessarily as a post, just as a, oh, that looks nice. I might have that for tea next week. I'll save it.
Yeah, I would
For
try
me,
and do
you
that on a
cannot do that.
personal Instagram account
Okay.
rather than on your other feed. You'll just confuse the algorithm.
Okay,
There
thanks.
is a channel called Chalk Valley Soaps. It is one of many, many, many gorgeous. I'll put it into the chat. Okay, I can actually share it quickly. So this is Chalk Valley Soaps on Instagram. And I would suggest, I've asked several times for you to have a look at a few people's, Instagram accounts. It will really, really help you see what's popular. If you have a brand that has, beautiful soaps like this, it's going to give you a lot of information about what style of photography, what style of post is working best. And you can get that from other brands before you've even got that large. They've got, 65,000 followers. So they have a lot of followers. They have an average like per post of 704. I mean, that's great. And I know they work flat out trying to keep up with all of the orders, and they get orders from all over the world. So they're really, really busy. But it's beautiful photography. And she's always sharing behind the scenes and what they're doing and then packing it and making it. You can see people all of the time. They're constantly sharing little snippets about their story. So this is their feed. If you go to the reels, you can see the numbers. So 12,500, 32,000, 22,000, 24,000, 29,000 views, 61,000 views. I mean, they get really good numbers on the views. You can go through and you can have a look at which ones get good numbers, which ones don't get so good numbers. But if one's got not so good numbers, go in and check, because when it comes to comments, they might have more comments. It might be more about engagement. So have a look and see, what were the comments? Were the comments bigger? Were they less? etc., etc. You can glean so much information from these. When they're doing little talks as well, they'll maybe do like a little chat or something like that with you. So if you click on this is her today's reel. So they're talking about Valentine's Day cards, and she's picking out Valentine's Day card. So this must have been from 12 hours ago. So actually she's talking about the UK versus US Valentine's Day. But it's just a little kind of more personal snippet that she's put up as a story. But when you go to her reels, they're focused on her brand. Can you see the difference? So they're both helping you understand the person behind the brand, but in different ways. And people, you'll find loads on here that you'll love. It'll really give you some ideas as to the type of posts that work and how they're being done. And when people see the products being packaged, they want that product. They want to receive that themselves and be able to unpackage that, or they want to gift that to someone that they absolutely love because it's so beautiful. And these are all things that you can do too. So find, by all means, have a look at this brand, but have a look at some other brands on Instagram too, and then dissect what's working best for these companies, and then have a look at how you can produce something in your own business that fits your brand and your style too. Okay? All right.
Can I ask a question,
Of course you
please?
can, Anne.
If say somebody looks at an Instagram and likes a picture of something and wants more information, is there a message place like there is
Yeah.
on Facebook?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I haven't got a website, so I couldn't do sort of a click to a website.
So when you go into, let's say that we go into this one, people can message you. So, you know, they can say that they want to buy it, or they'll private message you sometimes. So sometimes they'll leave a comment. Sometimes they'll private message you, just like Messenger in Facebook. They can send you a private message. And then within here, you can have information, or in the actual reel, you can have information where they can actually go and click. So she's actually not using a lot of call to actions in her reels, which is quite interesting, because normally you would see them. But can you see here, she's got her bio site where she's got the information about her company, and that takes you to her website. And here you've got all of the different things. So this is in Instagram itself, and you just visit our website. Something about gift box guide, VIP club to get 10% off, all sorts of different bits and pieces in here. And you can, they can click on that and go directly to that, or they can message you. So you can even put in your comments, you know, if you were doing this one here, you could have a, you know, a thing where you put up to DM you directly if, you know, if they want more information, or whatever your call to action was. So if you don't have a website, you can do that. But you can also use something like the £5 a month Shopify option, which allows you to share a single link to that product, so they can buy it literally straight off the page.
I've not heard of that.
Mm-hmm. Shopify tend to bury it. So when you go to the Shopify site and you look at the pricing plan, scroll all the way to the bottom and you'll see the £5 a month offer. And it's not a full website, but you can have as many pages for your specific individual products as you want. And each one of those pages has a link. You can share that link straight into your social feeds on Instagram, and on Facebook, and then people can buy straight from that link.
Wow.
Okay. Brilliant. Go and have the most amazing weekend, and I will keep putting some bits and pieces up for you. Let me know how you get on.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
You're welcome.